Good Thursday morning, everybody. Welcome into the Volquest Mailbag Podcast. I'm Eric Cain alongside Grant Ramey, Austin Price, and Brent Hubbs. A lot of questions here today on this bye week for Tennessee football, so we'll jump down into it. We'll start with SmokeyGray. Safety play has been less than average so far. Bad angles, missed tackles galore. Is it a coaching problem? Is it a personnel, just not very talented? Do we pay for portal additions in the offseason to shore up the safety position?
I would. Now, will they? I don't know. I mean, Brent, it's one of those things where you got to look at your roster and see where you want to allocate your money to. But I certainly would be trying to go out and get a veteran, talented safety this offseason.
I think you have to because Turrentine's leaving, right? Am I got all my years right?
Right.
Who's behind him? I mean, I think you like Sidney Walton, but you don't have enough bodies there. I don't know that I don't know that Caleb Beasley's played. I don't think he's played as well as they had hoped he would play. As for what's going on during the game, Grant, and the games itself, I think when you ask a guy to play 90 snaps a game, you're asking for missed tackles. You're asking for some bad play. And now I don't think they played well enough early either, but I think that they've had more misses in the second half because I think those guys are playing too many snaps.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a combination. I mean, bad angles is, you coach good angles. You can't go out there and force them to take the right angle. I think that's a 90 snaps, just a discipline on the field kind of thing. The missed tackles, all that stuff. They work on tackling, all that. So it's probably a combination of both. But man, I would treat safety almost like a lot of programs treat quarterbacks, where you're always looking for that guy in the portal that can step in and that's experienced, that's veteran. If you can find that right guy in the right situation, always be looking at that position for portal help.
All right, we'll go to Athrun next. Is there a possibility that we have Ricky Gibson, Ty Redmond, Colton Hood, and Jermod McCoy back if McCoy can't get on the field quick enough after rehab?
No. The answer is no. 0% chance. Normally I can couch a thing or two. I'm going 0.0 with a lot.
The same percentage chance that these four people on the screen are playing in the secondary next year.
0.
Talk to me about the new basketball commit, Grant.
Ralph Scott, he's from Bermuda. He goes to IMG Academy in Florida. A really rapid riser in the rankings over the summer, over the offseason. He kind of exploded. He went from basically not ranked to top 50, top 40, top 30, according to whoever you're looking at. Bouncy wing, wanted to play for a defensive-minded coach, wants to be a defensive pest. But I think that's how he labeled himself. So obviously that's a pretty good fit for Rick Barnes. He was here for the Georgia football weekend. I think he had a Syracuse visit scheduled in October, so obviously he saw something that he wanted to jump in and be a part of. He's a multi-year player, a developmental guy. He's got a pretty good shot, but he's more of a, I think, defensive-minded and athlete in terms of the wing. So it seems like a very, very good fit for all parties involved.
Grant, is this kind of the trend of where you're at in recruiting? I mean, maybe there's one unicorn that you go after like they did with Nate this past year, and then the rest of it's kind of portal help and then developmental guys. I mean, like guys who I don't want to say are complete projects, but a guy who maybe a year, 2 years away. Is that kind of the blueprint for Rick Barnes' new recruiting with the advent of the portal?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good mixture. You need those guys that are multi-year program guys that are going to stick around. They're going to want to be part of your program and develop in your program. That's one thing that Ralph Scott talked about as well, the development aspect of it. He wanted to go somewhere that was going to make him a better player on both ends of the court. I mean, you saw Jemai Mashak, Zakai Ziegler, some of these guys that stuck around. You got to have those guys that develop in your system and become program players, and you got to have the Jordan Gainies, and you got to have the whoever else out of the portal, Chaz, Dalton Connect. You're obviously looking for that type of talent, obviously. And then also you got to have, those native mints when they come around, if you're all in on them. And Tennessee didn't, they were in on native mint, and then they were kind of out for a while, and then they circled the wagons and got back in it last April, and it worked out perfectly for them. But it's got to be that mixture of multi-year guys. If you can get one and done talent, and then find the help you need in the portal.
Anyone standing out at baseball scrimmages to notes? I've seen about 15 innings so far, and these, just like in football camp, everybody wants to know about the new guys. Henry Ford looks awesome. He can play center, right, third base. They're all playing all over the place, but Henry Ford's homered a couple times. Mark Hendy looked really good. One of the pitchers they got from the portal this past summer, he looked really good on the mound on Tuesday when they played about 10 innings. Evan Hankins is a freshman that I think's looked really well. And you're seeing him and Taylor Tracy and some of these freshmen. Everybody's looking, not just Tennessee, everybody's looking for inning eaters this season. So two-way players are going to be a thing. And I think Evan Hankins is a guy that, could help on the mound a little bit, not in a major role. Him and Blaine Brown. Blaine Brown looked good on the mound the other day. So yeah, I mean, a lot of the new guys have looked impressive for sure. Jay Abernathy had a 2-run home run the other day, so that was good to see. Any recruiting items of note for football to touch on before the War Room?
No, not really. I mean, Tennessee remains in it for Drake Wynn. He watched Tennessee play Mississippi State in person the other day on a visit to Mississippi State. Tennessee got after the quarterback. They sacked the quarterback, a bunch. And, I mean, I think that resonates when you've got a kid you're recruiting. They're watching you. Outside of that, no. I mean, not a whole lot going on. Tennessee, wants to hold on to the guys they have, and then we'll see if they can, pluck anybody later. The last few years, I think October's kind of been a month where you've seen Tennessee start to make a move with a player or two. So we'll see if that happens this year as well.
Waffle says, watching the Rocky Top Rewind, Cain mentions that only thing you could have done there with 4 seconds left in the game is throw up a Hail Mary. However, I could see a way, especially with Mississippi State having 8 or so players on the goal line, that Tennessee could run a quick slant, go down immediately, run a quick slant or a go down immediately. By doing that, they'd have one timeout, take a timeout with 1 second on the clock. Was this the worst part of the clock management in this football game? No, because again, I think that you can't accomplish that in 4 seconds. I thought the absolute worst part of the clock management, guys, was not calling a timeout after Deshaun Bishop's first down run there.
Yes.
I mean, you can run that quick slant. It's going to take perfect execution and perfect everything to get on the ground and get that timeout called with 1 second still left on the clock.
I think
it's possible, but completing a Hail Mary is also possible. It's not very likely. I don't know.
I think it's way more. I mean, yeah, I guess it could happen, but I think it's way more riskier to try that than to and run out of time than to have an opportunity to throw a Hail Mary or something.
Yeah,
they're also lucky that ball didn't get picked off in return.
No, yeah. You shouldn't have been in a position where you had to heave it up and throw a Hail Mary. I mean, that's a botched drive in my opinion. But there was a conversation on the board about it too. Like with 4 seconds, I mean, you can't run a sound play and expect everything to go down. Then you get down there with 1 second. I mean, especially with the clock operator. The home clock operator. I don't know. I'm not buying that would have been executed. Maybe that's just me, but.
Well, it wouldn't have been executed for any amount of yards.
Yeah.
I mean, you could execute it for 3 yards, maybe 5, probably not. I mean, you just can't. You're not gonna get very far. You're not running an 8-yard out in 4 seconds. Is the thing. There's not enough time there to justify trying to do that to get a second playoff. That's why Mississippi State had everybody deep, because they were not worried about you throwing a 8-yard out to get in better field goal or to get into field goal range to try a long field goal there. I think 2 plays that don't get talked about there, and I'm not being critical of him. He was trying to make a play, but Boo Carter ran off 12 seconds running around on the punt. Obviously, Josh Heupel was trying to manage the clock with the 3 timeouts. He didn't want to punt it back to Mississippi State. The other play is Aguilar lost 7 seconds, Grant? 6 seconds for the 9-yard gain, or
Running
9
around.
seconds for the 6-yard gain, something to that effect there. I think you would rather him just throw it out of bounds and play the next play and save the clock on that one, because I think that killed you in terms of having an extra play as well.
Yeah, that and what Cain was talking about, the third down, 3rd and 1
And
from
timeout,
Deshaun,
obviously.
and then Aguilar scrambling around and then throwing it out of bounds. It was a lot of perfect storm of poorly managed clock, but I don't think a slant with 4 seconds left really does anything to change it much of it.
And in the midst of all that craziness and poor clock management, the one thing they did do that I loved was take the shot to Braylon Staley, and that ball, the touch underthrown. If he leads him, Staley had to slow up, which allowed that DB to get a hand in. If he leads him, it's a touchdown.
I thought it was a really good defensive play overall, getting his hand in there. But yeah, I mean, I just think 4 seconds you could have been in a much better position there than having to rely on potentially, snapping, completing, getting down, calling a timeout, and gaining just a couple yards.
You shouldn't have had 4 seconds left at that point. There should have been
Yeah.
more time on the clock is the bottom line.
Yeah.
Zjsvols SEC Carnage. Does Alabama get Diego'd ×2 this weekend?
No.
I don't think so. I think Alabama's had this one circled.
If they do,
Whew.
Mississippi State.
Now, I'll say this. I mean, Alabama's coming off a really physical game. You wonder about the, kind of the carnage of playing after you play the Georgia game and that type of deal. But the fact that they won and the way the quarterback's playing and the fact they lost to Vanderbilt last year, I don't see it.
Does Mississippi State have a shot against Texas A&M?
A shot? I mean, sure, they've got a shot. I mean, this is an A&M team, Grant, that offensively feels like they're a little bit all over the map. I mean, they were good at Notre Dame, but they weren't very good against Auburn. And I think Auburn's defense is good. I don't know that it's elite. So for me, it's about where's Texas A&M's offense, and then how does Mississippi State handle coming off a loss where, I mean, I'm sure they feel like, and rightfully so, that they gave a game away. They had a chance to put that game away, and they didn't do it. So, but to me, it's about where's A&M's offense at this point.
Yeah, I think you look at it like Tennessee. Tennessee fans left that Georgia game thinking this team's maybe better than we thought they were based on how they played against Georgia. I think Mississippi State leaves that Tennessee game thinking the same way. Like, this team is better than maybe they thought it was, even after a 4-0 start. Like, I was impressed by Mississippi State. I don't know how good they are. I don't know what their record's going to be, all that stuff. But the way they ran the football, the way they made plays when they had to make plays, I thought they were impressive. And what we've seen from Texas A&M Saturday especially, it looks like they were trying to give away that Auburn game there in the second half, and that's a home game. So obviously if Auburn's got a shot, I think Mississippi State's got a shot as well.
Does Sunbelt Billy survive the weekend? Florida's got Texas this weekend.
I mean, I think any weekend between now and the end of the season, he is a potential target for losing his job. So, I mean, we'll see. I think it depends on how they play. Are they inspired? They can lose the game, but lose another close game, and, I think he'd be back. But if they go out there and Texas just goes up and down the field on them, which Texas has not really done against anybody quality. Sometimes they've not done it against people that aren't quality. But if they do that, then I think that would be not good.
I was going to say Texas just a hair over a touchdown favorite.
Am I crazy to think that you'd be better off as an athletic director just to keep the guy and work behind the scenes on whoever's going to be next, opposed to
That's what I do.
Opposed to firing 3, 4, 5, whatever games into the season and opening the portal window and creating that much more? Like, everybody knows Billy Napier's. I don't know how he keeps his job at this point, but what's the point of firing him now versus at whatever other point in the season? Like, put off that portal window as long as you can, I guess, and just work behind the scenes and try to figure out what's next.
Well, I think the other thing too, Grant, in that is if you do it early, then you give an interim a chance to rally the fans and rally everybody. He wins one, they get an inspirational win here or there, and then all of a sudden there's pressure on you to hire a guy who's been on your staff. Do you really think that he's good enough to win? Like, I think Arkansas is in an interesting spot with Bobby Petrino. Like, what happens if he finds a way to win, 2 or 3 games? Is there enough pressure for him to get that job? Is that really the direction administration wants to go? There's pressure mounting from that. I mean, you go back even to Austin referenced this on a phone call with me the other night. Bill Stewart got the job at West Virginia for 1 bowl game. I think you have to be a little bit mindful of that you don't get pressured into doing something in an emotional decision because of how some guys coached in an interim basis for 5 or 6 weeks, when deep down you probably know he's not the best answer. I mean, what we know about, and he botched everything about the end of the coach's search, but like John Curry, when he was making the move that ended up costing him his job because of the Gruden thing and obviously flying overnight and all that other stuff. I mean, he was working in October to find out if Chip Kelly was interested in the job. Like, he was doing what you're talking about, Grant, before they ever made the move in November, which I do think is the right way to go about. Find out through some agents if somebody's interested and just roll on with what you got. Don't create the chaos of making a public deal. I don't get this whole fire guys in the first month of the season type deal unless they've just done something stupidly wrong, besides losing football games.
I would want to. I would want to work as far as I could down the road with my candidate or whoever I wanted to hire to make that search as short as possible so you could tell your players, this guy's fired, but here's this guy we're bringing in right here.
Yep.
I think, too, if you absolutely lose the locker room, if you lose the team, and it's just completely evident, I think you have to make a move.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean,
which is why Florida's going to be interesting because, again, they're playing really good defense. DJ Lagway's got that look in his eye this week. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, if you lose the team, I think you got to make a move. Willmcneeley, what do you make of the rush blocking issues? Seemed like last year we could run the ball on anyone. Seems like if this year's team wants to take that next step, they need to get back to that. In the 3 non-SEC games, Tennessee's averaged 246.6 yards versus 130 in the 2 SEC games. So about 116 more yards in the non-con games. What do you see as a fix to this?
Well, I mean, they got to block a little bit better. Running backs have to play better. They got to call more runs a little bit too. I mean, if you look at last year's Mississippi State game, Tennessee averaged 4.2 yards a carry. They ran it 57 times because Nico didn't play in the second half, so it was just run the football and get home. But they averaged 4.2 yards a carry. Saturday in Starkville, they averaged 4.1 yards a carry. Same effectiveness. They just called 25 less runs this year than they did last year because your offense is humming in the passing game right now. You look at the Georgia game. Georgia, they ran it better a year ago, right? That was their best game ever running against Georgia. They had 150 yards. They averaged 3.9 yards a rush last year. This year, they averaged 3.7 yards a rush. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like they're woeful compared to where they were in the common opponents a year ago with Dylan Sampson and an elite run game. Grant, part of it is your passing game is good. So it's like you start out 14 for 14 against Georgia. Should you have run it more in the first quarter?
Right. I mean, I've been surprised by their struggle to run against Georgia and Mississippi State, but I'm not concerned about this offensive line because they've protected Joey the way they have. I think it's more of you don't have Dylan Sampson anymore, you don't have a Jalen Wright anymore. I'm not calling these running backs bad, but they got a lot to live up to based on the production from those two guys the last 2 years. So it is surprising. I thought they ran it well in the second half when they had to against Georgia, when they needed to get chunk yards and get down the field, when they needed to keep drives alive. I think they obviously had a big play to start overtime at Mississippi State, and Joey ran for a touchdown as well to tie the game. So at moments it's looked encouraging, but I am surprised. I don't think I'm worried about it, though.
I want to see what this offensive line looks like in a run game if they go David Sanders and slide Jesse Perry back inside. And I think the other thing, too, as Grant was pointing out, is what you're missing with Dylan Sampson, not having Dylan Sampson or Jalen Wright, is the home run. Mm-hmm. You just don't feel like any of these backs in this rotation are true home run backs. Nobody's going to take it 60 yards for a touchdown the way you could see Dylan Sampson do that a year ago and the way Jalen Wright did it. Those were more big play chunk guys than these guys have been. I think these guys are more workhorses. They're not getting into a workhorse mode because they're not getting that volume of carries. Can they be better if they get a heavier workload? Those are all things that I'm curious to see the back half here.
Yeah, Jalen Wright was certainly a home run hitter. He had he only had 4 touchdowns in 2023, and all 4 of them were like 40 yards or more. Had like a 50-something, 70-something. Dylan Sampson, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I don't know what his longest rush was on the year, but gosh, I felt like he was a workhorse too. He just got the football 27, 28 times a game where, Bishop nor Thomas are ever going to get that many carries in a single game. But it is going to be interesting to see kind of the back half of the season. I will say this. It's been frustrating at times. It feels like running the football in these conference games, but they ran the football well in the fourth quarter against Georgia, and they ran the football well in the fourth quarter and overtime, against Mississippi State on the road. So I think that is certainly noteworthy. Hey, everybody, let me tell you about our friends over at Home Field Apparel, the exclusive apparel sponsor of Volquest.com. Football season is here. We need the weather to cooperate. It's still so daggum hot here in East Tennessee, but we got a little bit of a hint of it a couple weeks ago, and it's surely to come. You can feel fall, right? Football weather. And with that, can't miss Kickoff 2025 campaign where you get football boxes, like this one right here. Football boxes, coaches' jackets, bomber jackets, and so much more. In these football boxes, you get some never-before-seen items, okay? I'm gonna just open mine right here and just pull out one thing. I'm not going to pull out the whole box. But look at this. Look at this black shirt, long sleeve, back-to-back, SEC champions, 97, 98. Feels great, so incredibly soft, and you can be decked out in style at Neyland Stadium this fall. There's a hoodie in here that is so soft. There's an orange shirt in there that says National Championships, and it's really, really cool. Vintage college design. That's what Home Field Apparel really prides themselves on. It's never before seen items as well. Vintage college feel. And University of Tennessee's got some great stuff in this Can't Miss Kickoff 2025 campaign. These football boxes, incredible. So how can you get yours? Well, go to homefieldapparel.com today to get started. That's homefieldapparel.com. Homefieldapparel.com today to go ahead and get started. Appreciate them. Also want to give a shout out to Dollar Shave. When you rep your team, don't just stop at the jersey, all right? Dollar Shave Club's collegiate razor handles combine grooming with glory, letting students, grads, fans show their school spirit in style. From the sink to the stadium, shave with school pride. Visit dollarshaveclub.com to grab your college handle today. And don't forget, go Vols. And finally, Whataburger. Whataburger, they believe in late nights shouldn't prevent you from enjoying a hot, fresh, made-to-order meal. Just as the three of us, Grant and I, and Austin, we stopped at a Whataburger in Tuscaloosa on the way back from Starkville after the game on Saturday night. It was clutch. 24 hours a day, they're open. You can get your favorite burger whenever it's convenient for you. Treat yourself to a Whataburger, double Whataburger, or what about a Whataburger of two kinds of melty different cheeses, bacon, grilled onions? Now we're talking Whataburger just like you like it. Big thanks to our friends over at Whataburger. CoolHandDan, AP, what is the formation called with three in the backfield that Aguilar scored the game-tying touchdown with and Bishop the 25-yard run in overtime? Sevier County, I referenced it like 7 times the other day when Sevier County had it last Thursday.
I don't know, Eric. Tell me the formation.
Typically, 3 backs in the backfield is just a full house. Now, I know they kind of moved them around a little bit. You had the 2, they were tight ends, but they're in the backfield. They had him on the right side at one point in time with Bishop, sent him beside Aguilar. In overtime, it looked more like a wing, but they were truly back there, one on each side. Then Thomas in the back, or a Bishop in the back, kind of like a star look. Typically, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong, anytime there's 3 backs in the backfield, that's a full house formation.
I call it the single wing.
I call it get Jack Van Doorslayer on the field and let him block, because he had a huge block on that counter that sprung Deshaun Bishop on that 25-yard touchdown run. He had a huge block on Joey Aguilar's run to tie the game. That was something that was impressive that I don't think got talked about a ton coming out of Mississippi State.
He's got to play in the first half of games. For A, to me, he deserves it and he's ready. 2, they've got to take some of the workload off Miles Kitselman as well.
Pretty sure he had 73 snaps Saturday in Starkville. Miles Kitselman did, because I remember hearing you say you got to get less snaps, and then I looked it up, and I think it was 74 total, and he had 73 of them. Yeah,
way too many snaps for that guy. I mean, he's losing effectiveness, in my opinion, by playing that many snaps.
Volslater, do you think there's real buzz around anybody else other than Jermod McCoy for this year's draft?
Yeah.
Colton Hood.
I don't know that Brazel gets that high up there. We'll see, but certainly Colton Hood. Brazel's on some list. I think Lance Hurd will climb some lists. I don't know that Lance gets to the first round, but I think he's making money every day. I think Joshua Joseph's making money every day. I mean, one of the stories of the first month of this season, if you're looking at individuals, is the play of some individuals who are obviously veteran guys who are helping themselves for the opportunities to play on Sundays. I mean, Joseph's the NFL is going to love Joshua Joseph. That's a position of need. Everybody craves every year in the draft. Offensive tackles are needed in the draft every year. Corners are high commodity guys. So, yeah, I mean, and I don't think it's the deepest year in receivers right now, which is good for Chris Brazel's draft stock.
I mean, if I was an NFL team, I would want Lance Hurd on my team. I could not be more impressed with the transformation that he's had. I could not be more impressed with Chris Brazel. Somebody on the board mentioned Randy Moss in a thread the other day, and he's not Randy Moss, but it does feel like just throw it up and he's going to find a way to go get it. I mean, and it's not only that downfield stuff, it's that 4th down catch where the ball's a little bit behind him and he bobbles it in traffic and still finds a way to catch it on the way to the ground.
Play the game.
Right, the stuff in the end zone, just the different ways he's done it and how consistently he's done it has been crazy.
Yeah.
What's fascinating about him to me is,
and that's not to mention, sorry Hubs, that crazy catch he had at midfield where he's fallen in his back shoulder, and it's just crazy.
He feels like he's open all the time, and he feels like more than anybody they've had right now, he feels like a guy who could run any route in this offense.
Right.
Effectively. I don't think you could say that about Jalen Hyatt. I don't think you could say that about Tillman. You certainly couldn't say it about Velus Jones. Of all the receivers, the way he's playing right now, he feels like the first one who can really run any route that they want him to run in this offense. He is not a straight vertical guy. He can run anything, which is that versatility is only going to help him at the next level.
And it feels like he can catch any ball, because how many times have we seen him jump up and contort and twist and do something to find a way to catch the football? That's been crazy impressive as well.
Yeah, I think that fourth down catch the other night on the game-tying drive, in my opinion, might have been the play of the game. I mean, the concentration to go back and catch that football behind you and bobble it a little bit and then hold on to it on a play you had to have, right?
Yep,
so
on fourth down.
Beefvol, with the switch to Adidas, will there be a chance to get an orange helmet and have a full orange uniforms from head to toe?
No, I don't think so. Part of the issue with the orange is and it's not one apparel company versus the other. It's to make it match. Now I'll give Nike credit. They've got the orange on orange pants and top look pretty close to matching, as well as it's ever matched when they go all orange there. But you got the metal flake, you got all the shiny stuff, AP, in the helmet. That the orange helmet's not gonna be close to the orange look of the jersey and the orange pants. I don't know that we'll ever see orange helmets again at Tennessee.
No, they held them around for a couple of years after 22. They didn't use them in 23. There was a plan to use them a year ago, I believe, at Vanderbilt, and with the playoffs on the line, they weren't pulling anything off the wall, so they just went with the traditional white helmet. And I think those things are gone, and I'm with Hubs. I'm not sure we'll ever see them return.
I've got a solution. You don't have to match it if you do orange chrome, and I hate chrome helmets, but the chrome helmets never match. But Baylor's got that gold chrome helmet. All these teams have a chrome helmet. If you really want to do it, that would be the only way to do it, but please don't do it.
The ADaug, how much downtime does the team get during the bye week? Do they get the weekend off?
They do, yes. They're off Friday, Saturday. They have to be back in Sunday night.
Any players going to any other football games?
I'm sure some.
Caleb Herring is going to watch his brother play, just like Elijah came and watched Caleb play.
And Jason Jenkins.
And Squirrel White.
Oh, was Squirrel White there too?
He's at Florida State.
No, I'm saying like when they came up for the Georgia game.
No, he didn't come up. I'm just saying he's going to go see him at Florida State. No, he did not come to Knoxville. But yeah, those guys will go see. I mean, they all got friends playing somewhere. They're going to go watch games.
Well, they might go to Nashville and go out and go honky tonk.
Yeah, you never know what they're going to do. But they're going to get away from towns, what they're going to do. They're not going to be in Knoxville hanging out, most of them.
It's October. They may be working at the haunted corn maze out in Corrigan.
They might come to the Oaks Farm. Check it out.
Frightmare Manor down in Jefferson County. It's open now.
You come to Oaks Farm and you go on the pumpkin patch ride. My father-in-law might drive you on the tractor out there to it. So there you go.
DolittleVol, AP, you specifically have been very adamant that you like UT's chances against Alabama this year. Are you still feeling that confident?
Yeah, I don't know why not. I mean, Alabama's a good football team. Ty's playing really good football. Alabama's throwing it better than they're running it. So, I mean, I guess for me, yeah, I mean, I think you look back at the 4 years Josh Heupel's been here, they were competitive in 21 down there. They won in 22 and 24, and in 23 they led at halftime in Tuscaloosa. So there's nothing about this game that makes me think Tennessee can't go in there and have a real shot to win.
Yeah, Tennessee just didn't finish that game in 23. I mean, you led 20-7 at half, and you were doing a lot of good. You were settling on field goals where you should have cashed in offensively in the first half, and Milton got strip sacked in the second half. You had that bogus fair catch call from T-Lander on the kickoff return. I mean, the second half got weird, but now Tennessee certainly played pretty well in this series, and especially down there at points and times. UncommonVol, is Brame just not physical enough yet to play against SEC competition?
I mean, he's not as physical as Jack Van Dorselaer, but I think you'll see him play some and should play some more in the two tight end sets if they play some of that. I mean, I think he's got some different flexibility to him. I don't think he is where he needs to be right now in terms of being an inline blocker on a consistent basis. Van Dorselaer's ahead of him in that regard. Fair, AP?
That's fair. absolutely. He does offer some different possibilities.
Heupel, my lord. All right, gents, let's hear it. Do we make the playoffs, yes or no?
Grant?
Yes, of course. Listen, you don't have to beat Alabama to make the playoff. You just got to take care of business everywhere else. And if you beat Alabama, that's great. You got a lot of money in the bank if you do something like that. But you survive Mississippi State. That's what you got to do. Survive and advance. It's what it feels like. Didn't play your best football game, but you found a way to win despite a lot of different times where it seemed like they weren't going to win that football game. So that was impressive. But, can you take care of business against Arkansas, at Kentucky, at Florida, at home against Oklahoma, all that stuff? If they can be a 2-loss football team, they'll be in the playoff.
So they're going to beat Florida for the first time since 2003 down there?
I think the carnage of this league is going to be wild. I mean, who's going to – I mean, how many 2-loss teams are there going to be there? When do they lose? There's going to be a lot of teams beating each other up. So kind of what does it look like? How many 2-loss teams are sitting there at the end of the year, and how many spots are there going to be for SEC teams with two losses? I don't know. I think October is going to be just fantastic to watch in this league with all the games. Not this week, but the rest of them is going to be pretty fantastic to watch.
Yeah, late season losses are not good. Early season losses are okay because the committee forgets that they happen. And even if you lose late, if you're Alabama, they're still going to try to get you in the playoffs with 3 losses. You saw that last year when they lost to a horrific Oklahoma team. T and Tubby, what are your thoughts on not recruiting a 5-star high-end quarterback and having them sit for 1 to 2 years before they can play? It's really hard to hit on young quarterbacks you're paying $1 to $2 million for, and they don't play. Spend that money on older guys that can play. Just go to the portal, recruit guys like Joey every 1 to 2 years, and go win with that philosophy.
I mean, everybody's got to look at it the way they want to look at it. I understand the poster's thought process. I don't think he's wrong. That the model of spending locked in money for younger, unproven guys is probably not the best model. But at the same time, I'd rather have talent sitting on my bench that's young than just a body over there with, let's say you go into the portal and you take a really good player, and then that player either doesn't pan out, doesn't mesh, or gets hurt. Like all of a sudden you're turning to just a body. I don't think you want to do that either. So I mean, I think it's a balancing act. It's kind of like next year. I mean, what are they going to do? They can't just roll into next year with 2 players. I'm under the belief, I know you guys probably agree with me, that Jake Merkliner probably won't be here for the 2026 season. So if that's the case, it's George and Faison. You got to have more than just 2 guys. You got to have more than just a redshirt freshman and a true freshman.
Well, here's my thing. For every transfer portal guy that pans out really well, like Joey Aguilar, I can find you 5 that didn't pan out. For every high school 5-star that became an All-American, I can find you 5 that it didn't pan out. I mean, it's quarterbacks, Grant. It's been a crapshoot in the National Football League for forever.
Yep.
It's the same thing in college football. Is there a right answer to this question? I don't think there is, but I don't think you can take one side of the argument to be an absolute, meaning when the transfer is going to be a home run every year. You got no idea. Same way with the high school guy. Right.
There's not a Joey Aguilar sitting there waiting to be a perfect fit in a perfect situation. There's not a hidden hooker that you're going to back into every time, every portal class. I mean, there's a chance, but there's also a chance or a greater chance that it doesn't work out. Just like every 5-star freshman is not going to be a Nico situation where you pay a bunch of money and it doesn't work out. So it's somewhere in between because there's no absolutes either way.
Yeah, who's to say if Hooker or Aguilar went to South Carolina or
right?
I mean, Kentucky did that model for the longest time, right? I mean, Kentucky had a pretty good football team, good offensive line, good running back, solid defense. Dane Key, Barryon Brown, the Robinson kid. I mean, they've had talent, and they try to go get a quarterback every single year from the portal, and it just never worked. So, I mean, a lot of times it just kind of you have to be married to that right system. It's got to click, and it has for those 2 guys specifically here at Tennessee.
And you have to be fortunate. I mean, you just have to get – and again, those who are fortunate win Super Bowls in the National Football League. I mean, it just is just the way it is. Sometimes a chain of scenery is good for some guys. Sometimes a free agent landing somewhere in the NFL who was a good player somewhere else, it doesn't work because it's not the right fit for them. So there's just no guarantee with it at all.
731_V4L AP. Where's Tennessee with Graham Simpson?
Tennessee's not offered Graham Simpson, so that's kind of where they're at. I mean, until they offer him, then they're continuing to watch him, evaluate him. He's been here the last 2 years for camp. Did not think his camp performance was very good year before last. This year it was better. Tennessee still chose not to offer, and so I think that's kind of where we stand as we sit here in early October.
D wants to know, Arion Carter and Joshua Josephs are both playing at a high level. Any chance of getting one or both back next year, or do you think they're going high enough in the draft to leave?
I think Josephs is done, isn't he? Been here 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think either one of them will be on the defense next year.
Unless they pass the 5 rule. Unless they pass the 5 rule.
Yeah, I still don't think either one of them are going to be back. I think both of them are playing well. I think both of them have a desire to play in the NFL next year.
Yeah,
I think both of them will go.
Give me the most surprising player so far on each side of the football. You cannot name Joey Aguilar.
Chris Brazzell.
Yeah, I mean, it's here nail on the head.
Chris Brazzell on offense. What about
Lance Hurd's number 2 for me, but Chris Brazzell's number 1. Defensively, it's Colton Hood for me.
And again, how fortunate, Grant, is Tennessee to have Colton Hood? A year from now, the whole Nico thing is irrelevant, because if Nico would have voted to leave, so you wouldn't have to worry about trying to pull somebody in. But like McCoy got hurt, post portal window closing, like they're so fortunate to have a Colton Hood who got here in the spring.
You thought he was huge when you got him, and then you had no idea Ricky Gibson would play how much against Syracuse before being injured for a long time. That makes it even bigger. Maybe recency bias. Could Tyree West be in that conversation just because of how he steamrolled Blake Shapen a couple times at Mississippi State and created some huge plays?
West's 2 best games have come against their best competition. He was terrific against Georgia. He was terrific against Mississippi State. He would certainly be in that conversation as well. Colton Hood's a guy that I think Tennessee thought they were bringing in, that they would have for another year or so. I don't think Tennessee, when they brought him in, thought they were going to get him for 1 season. But if he keeps playing the way he's playing, they're going to get him for 1 season.
The bonus with Colton Hood is the post-game press conferences, because that kid is hilarious.
Yeah.
Talking about not even knowing who scored the touchdown when Josephs ran it back. Wasn't even watching the play, just turned around to taunt the sideline after he saw it headed toward the end zone. That kid is hilarious.
J7733 with a looming 9-game conference slate. Are we going to see larger signing classes, transfer portal additions to have extra needed depth? And did the SEC shoot down the 103 roster spot number to keep conference teams at 85?
It's 105, and no, they'll be going to that a year from now.
Yeah, they did not do it this year. They stayed at 85 scholarships. They're going to 105 scholarships. Is where they're heading. They're not there yet, but that's where it's going, is to the 105 scholarship deal. You're actually going to have fewer bodies from a practice standpoint. You'll have 105 on scholarship, but you've got 125 on your roster right now. So depth in college football is always going to be an issue. The days of stockpiling 7 5-stars at one position by some coaches and stuff, that's just not realistic anymore. So I think you're always going to see teams on the, having some depth concerns at spots, which is why your young players, you got to get them ready in a hurry, because you're going to have to play some guys. We're seeing that this year, right? I mean, the plan was not to play Ty Redmond. You got to play Ty Redmond because of injuries. I mean, it's just, you're not going to have 4 corners who are all, second, third, fourth-year players in your deal. That's just not the world we're going to live in this day and age with the portal and the movement that everybody has. Yeah,
not only are you playing Ty Redmond, you are playing Ty Redmond every snap. Does this mean the bigger signing classes?
Well, it's the 105, so it depends on how many people are leaving. It just varies. Mississippi State brought in 32 transfers last off season. So
there's not a hard cap on 25 signees.
Yeah, it just depends on what your overall number is, because there is no initial, or there is no year-to-year number. It can be whatever.
Nashville 94. What's the latest on Boo Carter's playing time? He's a difference maker on defense and special teams, but it seems like he hasn't seen much action. Is he still in the doghouse?
Well, Boo played much better against Mississippi State than he has in previous games. In previous games, he had several busts. He had a terrible first half against UAB. But I mean, yeah, it was good to see him take a step in the right direction. If he continues to progress, then he'll continue to play more, in my opinion.
As far as the punt return things, I mean, like, I understand the frustrations, right? Like, I get everybody being mad because Staley muffed one, led to a touchdown. He let one roll to the one. Like, I get all that. The decision not to let him return punts, he muffed 2 punts the 2 previous weeks. So, like, I get the decision. Now, the decision backfired. It ultimately was not the right call. But I understand why he went back there returning punts to begin the game, because he muffed 2 the weeks prior.
Yeah, my answer to that would be, why didn't you bench him after he muffed the 2 in the previous games?
Yeah.
You let him finish the game returning punts. You didn't yank him right then. You let him. So that's why it was the shock. Yeah, he muffed the 2 the previous 2 weeks, but you didn't pull him off the field and throw somebody back there after he muffed it in the game. There was other punts after that. So that was the head scratcher to me. Like, some guys, granted, if a guy's going to be aggressive back there, it's going to be an adventure a minute. That's why you've seen Tennessee in years past. If it's a backed up punt, or if it's a punt that you're backed up towards your goal line, they put a fair catch guy back there, a guy who's very sure-handed, who doesn't take risks. I don't know. I mean, clearly Staley wasn't comfortable back there on Saturday. It just didn't go well. So,
I mean, if they had a sure-handed option, I don't think we've seen it yet. That's
Agreed.
The problem. But I think at this point, based on what you saw from Staley, Boo's got to be your guy, and you just got to stick with it and hope it works, and hope he fixes the bobbles or the drops.
Morris also returned punts a little bit against Syracuse. He was not available for Mississippi State, so maybe he's an option if they want to continue to look.
Do you feel better about him being back deep?
No, I mean, I'm not saying I would have done that. Like, right. Boo's going to giveth, he's going to taketh away sometimes, but his giveth in the return game, I'll live with it. It's like he ran around. He was trying to make something happen. He wasted time. It was unfortunate, but I'll take my chances with him running around because he can make something happen. I'm just saying that Morris would be another option because he returned a punt or 2 against Syracuse, if I'm not mistaken. On that note, Matt for Rocky Top wants to know, should Tennessee have fielded that punt to end the half?
No. If I'm not taking a timeout right there, I'm not putting my punt return team on the field. I'm just setting up in defense. Yep. The one, I guess, concern there is, what if he punts it down to the 1 and you don't want to be in that situation because you're wanting to take a knee, obviously, and get out of there. You can't do that on the 1 yard line, but what's the percentage chance that ball's going out on the 1 yard line or inside the 5 or wherever?
Take the snap and fall forward in that situation. I agree with that. Before the half, no. There was a thread on this yesterday on the board. The thing is, heels at 10 don't back up. Everybody
right.
can coach it differently, but as far as fair catching it around the 12, 13 yard line, that's fine. You can't go into any punt return thinking everybody's going to muff it. Like, that's not how you play. But situation dictates, maybe get away from it. I think that situation absolutely dictated, just let it go to the half.
You've got somebody you trust with the game on the line, but clearly I don't think that's the situation. But, I mean, we were sitting up there in the press box first saying, why aren't they taking a timeout? And then after they didn't take a timeout, we're saying, why is anybody deep fielding this punt? Just let it go.
Yeah, so Tennessee clearly didn't care about running another play or 2 after that, so that's fine. Do you know why Caleb Herring and Jordan Ross only logged 27 and 24 snaps respectively? Was it just based on situational packages or something else?
I mean, Joshua Joseph's got 40. There was only 70 or so in the game snaps. I mean, they're deep at that spot. Tyree West was playing really well, so you didn't have to go Rabbits package to rush the quarterback. You could, you're trying to be stronger on the end in the run game. Herring and Ross have to play the run better than what they've done, but I think that's going to be kind of a normal workload for those guys, right? I mean, you're going to play Joshua Joseph more than you're going to play those 2 guys, but they're playing. I mean, for a defensive lineman, 24 snaps, 25 to 30 snaps a game for an edge guy, when you have a edge guy in front of you that's going to go to the NFL at the end of the season, I think that's a pretty good law. I mean, I think that's a pretty good rotation. I don't have a problem with that rotation at all.
Davey Vol, can you guys grade the position groups, including special teams, 5 games in? Let's go. Let's go in order here.
Your story, Eric.
Yeah, I was going to say Eric Cain could do that on
Volquest.com. I mean, he did this on Tuesday.
Did you grade on a curve?
No, I did not. Quarterback gets an A.
Receivers A. Running backs B. Offensive line A.
I'm giving O-line an A. Tight ends, I'm going to give a C.
C. Oh, okay.
Maybe that's too harsh, but I think the behind Kitzelman, I mean, I like Van Dorselaer. Ethan Davis, more penalties than catches. Van Dorselaer, or Miles Gisman's playing too many snaps. Defensive line overall, I'm going to give probably a B+, A-. I mean, they've been very productive. I know they've been injured. Linebackers, I'm going to give a C-. Corners, I'm going to give a B. Safeties, I'm going to give a D. Any objections?
You didn't do special teams. Place kicking, D.
Well, I'm going to do special teams as a whole. Maybe this is unfortunate for Jackson Ross and Turbeville, but C-.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. I mean, muff punts.
That might be a little bit more positive than I was even.
Yeah. I mean, C-, D+. I don't know. I mean,
head coaching decisions.
I mean, I didn't like how he managed the clock, but I mean, overall, I'd say probably a B. I mean,
an A+ in timeout efficiency. Those things are not going to waste.
All right, let's go. Assistant coaches. Glenn Ellerby gets an A, right? Kelsey Pope, A. Everybody thought that coming into the year, the Tennessee fan base.
The souvenir cups at Whataburger. What grade would you give that?
Failing.
Vol Network, I would give an A+ to the sideline reporter.
He's
I don't know who he is, where he came from.
He's average as applesauce.
That guy on Volquest that turns out 30 articles on game days. I give him an A.
He's an A++.
Yeah. Smokey Man 15. Can you guys? I did the power rankings earlier this week, so go check it out if you don't know what we're talking about. Smokey Man 15. Can you guys elaborate on the odd fronts for those of us who aren't X's and O's guys? Why does it give teams trouble? Why is everybody that doesn't work that into their defensive schemes against Tennessee? What's the solution for our offense against that?
Well, I think the challenge, and I'm going to be very basic here because I'm not a deep dive into X's and O's, but I think the biggest challenge of it is just your rules that are in place. The rules are different for the offensive lineman because you don't know where the fourth guy's coming from. When you got 4 across the front, you know some natural rules are in place for your blocking scheme where you're combo blocking and trying to get to the second level and all that. When it's a 3-man front and you've got, quote, I guess the phrase is overhang linebacker. Is he in the box? Is he out of the box? Is he coming? Is he not coming? There's just a lot more communication that has to take place there. And they can disguise some things and do some things differently. Now, the thing is when you hit it right, you get a 25-yard touchdown run in overtime when you block it up right and go from there. When you don't block it up right, then you get more, negative plays or 1 to 2 yard gains that way. So I think in the run game, it's just more about the rules for the offensive lineman on kind of figuring out where everybody's coming from. That's sort of the very, very elementary thought process on it. I don't, from a deep dive, Eric, I can't get really any more deep into X's and O's to understand all of the other stuff, but that's kind of the basis that's fundamentally problematic for the offensive line.
Yeah, no, I agree. And again, it's not a 3-stack, but in a 3-stack, you got a fourth coming somewhere. That's essentially what this is. You got somewhere coming, and it's human nature to where if you're an offensive lineman, you see a guy in front of you, or you see a guy in your, 4-eye or whatever, like you want to go get him. And if he takes you away and you follow, then that opens up a lane for somebody coming. So, no, I would agree with what you said. AJ Lewis 0527, Boo had a bad summer. It's clear the trust isn't there with his teammates and coaching staff. Is it a foregone conclusion that he's itching to leave? I don't like bringing up the quarterback in California because that's the definition of grass isn't always greener. I'm sure Boo would have a market in the portal, but I have to imagine it's not as lucrative as it was last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think the running notion is here that most people would be surprised if he were back in 2026. But he's here. I certainly don't think he's checked out and is doing the best he can. Now, has he been perfect? No, but I mean, I thought Saturday was one of his best games of the year.
The QB in California was a money situation. I don't think Boo's ever been a money situation, has it? And it feels like Tennessee's giving Boo every chance to work this thing out on the field.
I thought the QB in California was because he didn't have enough help around him.
I thought it was for the NFL offense.
Had to go get around all that talent there.
Closer to home for mom.
Yeah, I'm confused. Grant, I'm confused.
And Boo's absolutely been a money deal. I mean, he talked about it. I mean, like he played it out in the media in December, and I mean,
he's getting handsomely paid. Let's put it that way.
But he wasn't. Was he gone in July because of money?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like the QB from California, when he was here, when he was on the field, when everything was in good standing, he was a model citizen.
He's gone in July because he went and met with a new agent, which is, I guess that's, you could
technically
pull it a certain way.
It's just very different situations. I don't know if the outcome's any different, but it just feels like different situations.
I do. I agree with that. It is a different situation from that standpoint. I mean, I think it's different for whatever for a variety of different reasons. It feels like it's different.
Nashville 615. How much do you credit our struggles on offense in Starkville to Jeff Lebby having a unique perspective on Heupel and our scheme?
I don't know that you had struggles. I mean, I feel like you stopped yourself. Grant, I don't feel like no offense to the fine folks at Mississippi State, but I mean, you dropped a wide open touchdown pass. You had one call back on a phantom offensive pass interference penalty. I mean, did you really? I mean, the interceptions weren't great defensive plays. I mean, I don't feel like Tennessee. I don't feel like Mississippi State really stopped Tennessee.
No, you had those two passes you're talking about are probably 140 yards in touchdowns. One called back and one dropped. The two interceptions that turned into short fields for Mississippi State were balls that were batted in the air off of Miles Kitzelman's hand. Maybe they could have been better ball locations from Joey Aguilar. That's what he said after the game. But, I mean, that's a play you got to make. Those two guys have to make. You muffed a punt and gave Mississippi State another short field. Like, it feels like the struggles were elsewhere than – I mean, when you had to have a touchdown, you went 10 plays, 75 yards, and converted a 3rd and 6 and a 4th and 4 and all that stuff to do what you had to do. And then in overtime, you got in the end zone and put the pressure on the other team.
Do you think our defense has real problems or things will improve significantly when the injury issues resolve?
Well, the defense has to get off the field on 3rd down, and they have to eliminate the wide open bust. I mean, listen, Mississippi State, we talk about Mike Matthews dropping a ball, AP. Mississippi State dropped one that was going to be a touchdown. It was off the fingertips that they were behind the safety. I mean, Tennessee misplayed it in the back end. You had the other one where the kid made the 41-yard catch and he fell down. If he doesn't fall down, that's a walk-in touchdown. Yep. Tennessee just got to clean up the bust. And then on 3rd and 8, they got to figure out a way to get off the field.
Yeah, for me, it's getting off the field. I mean, like the ability to get off the field on a more regular occurrence is the thing that takes this defense from being close but still giving up some really suspect play to being really, really good again. Just find a way to get off the field. How many times did I turn to Eric on Saturday and go, "Got to get off the field here, conversion. Got to get off the field here, conversion," and you're just like,
It's weird too, like that drive, that second touchdown drive from Mississippi State, they had because I think they converted 7 or 8 third downs in that game. Half of them came on that drive.
4 for 4 on that drive. 4 for 4.
And that's happened on more than one game where you look up and half of the conversions are on one drive. It feels like Tennessee's given up one 12, 15 play drive basically every game that they played, particularly in the first half. They've got to be much better. I mean, in Georgia, it was the second half. They've got to be better in not giving up those long drives. And then the offense got to be better. Special teams got to be better, not asking them to defend in the red zone to start the drive. I mean, State had 21 points on 60 yards of offense. That's pretty fortunate for you offensively when you get that kind of field to work with.
All right, last question goes to _runnervol. Again, I am asking, could Joey Aguilar come back to Tennessee next year? He played 1 year in junior college, 2 years at App State, plus 1 year here. The Vandy quarterback got extra years for the years at junior college. Can Joey do the same? Aguilar played 2 years at junior college, first off. So 2 years at JUCO, 2 years at App, and then a season here. That's 5. Based on the Pavia ruling, you get one back. I don't know if that's for your entire time. I don't know where all that legal stuff stands. I mean, to my understanding, guys, this is 1 year and this is it for him, right?
AP, that's the understanding I have. I've not had anybody tell me that there's another year available for him at this point.
That's what everybody continues to tell me. Now, if they pass the 5 for 5 thing and the JUCO stuff gets tossed out, probably. I mean,
who knows?
I mean, I guess it's possible. I mean, if I'm Joey Aguilar, I'm certainly trying to get another year here. Why would you not?
Yeah, I mean, you can monetize on your worth right now. No doubt. So, again, I think as far as everyone is concerned, this is it. But in this landscape with everything being challenged in the courts, you just don't know. You just don't know, truly.
Didn't we have this conversation on a recent mailbag podcast? Because the question says, again, I'm asking you. I don't feel like we've ignored this, have we? I feel like we had this discussion.
I mean, I don't have. I mean, the only answer I have for him is nobody that I've talked to associated with football is saying, "Hey, man, we got a chance next year to be pretty good because he could be back." I mean, nobody's talking about a potential return for him. Everybody over there seems to be under the guise that this is it, and that's my basis. I've not talked to a lawyer or anything, but I don't have anybody telling me that it's a possibility that he could get an extra year.
No.
I mean, I'll say this to push back on that just a touch. Everybody over there also thought Miles Gibson was done last year, and then they didn't think that there was no way Pavia would win that ruling, and then they did, and so I mean, like, again, I think they approach things like the right way, because you don't want to well, maybe he can be back. I think it's just easier to go in and go, I'm preparing as if he's not going to be back. And, now again, if they pass the 5 for 5 thing and that, the JUCO stuff gets tossed out, I guess it's possible. I mean, again, if I'm Joey Aguilar, I certainly have a lawyer working on something to see if it's possible to push the boundaries, push the limits.
It's almost like the Jordan Gainey, Zakai Ziegler situation. Like, is it possible? Yeah, it might be possible, but there might have to be a ton of stuff that gets done and passed and ruled on in time for it to be a possibility to begin with. I don't know.
Yep. No doubt about it. Appreciate the questions here this week. Thank you so much here for sending those in at Volquest.com on the Journal's Quarters each and every single week. No football game for Tennessee this weekend. A lot of football games we can watch, though. Tennessee will get back into game week mode next week when Arkansas comes to town. That's they said it was 4:15, right? 4:15 or 3:15 local.
4:15 Eastern SEC Network.
Okay, 4:15 Eastern SEC Network. Of course, we'll have all the coverage right here at Volquest.com. Recruiting happening. Basketball season, the official practices started. We have fall baseball scrimmage notes on the board from earlier this week. All that and more happening right here at Volquest.com. So come hang out with us. Link up with us for your first week and big $1. First week, $1 over at Volquest.com. For Brent Hubbs, Grant Ramey, Austin Price, I'm Eric Cain. Thanks for joining us here on the Volquest Thursday morning Mailbag Podcast.